Live,
What happened?
man.
What happened in the spaces today, bro?
We live. And what we know is that in 2022, we can be as progressive as we want to be, but it's still a lot of boys that's lost in the sauce of pale supremacy. You read between the lines when I say pale supremacy. Peep game. There is no such thing as a gay agenda. What this means is that you can identify all the ways you want to, or how mainstream media has monetized different trends that's now acceptable in terms of being a part of the LGBT community. But this is what we know: we cannot conflate presence. We cannot conflate presence with,
Mm-hmm.
and that's literally what happened in the Twitter space. We know
Hold
a
on,
lot.
so we can't say that one more time because you cut out on my end. We can't
Yeah.
conflate
We
presence.
cannot conflate the presence of something with pushing something.
Yep.
We cannot acknowledge the presence of the LGBT community within the media and entertainment and equate that to that must mean they're being pushed. What we recognize, historically speaking, is that during the Renaissance period, the Black Renaissance, was the first time that Black culture became a part of the mainstream. You see what I'm saying? We can acknowledge that Black people are present in the law, present in TV, present in music. Are we being pushed? No, we're not being pushed. So when you say the gay agenda is being pushed, to me, it's just cap. It recognizes, to me, it glosses over that it's really a straight agenda. It's really a straight agenda. It's literally institutions,
A straight agenda.
organizations. Oh yeah, I'm doubling down on this. It's a straight agenda. The world is structured by heteronormativity. That is a straight agenda. This means that there are people that are not straight that are pushed into closets. That is a literal manifestation of it being a straight agenda. Literally, if you want to get married, if you want to get a loan, those systems are structured to care about you if you are straight. This means it's a straight agenda. But today, though, y'all, if you tuning in right now, we're gonna be actually not getting into this. I'm gonna say this for a dish dialogue. We about to get into this Ukraine Russia beef. So you got it.
Well, no, we're gonna get into this Ukraine Russia beef, but I want to make something clear. If you're not following the consciously on everything right now, then you're playing yourself, because this conversation is something that's been developing all day. So the consciously on Twitter and Twitter Spaces is where you're gonna find these types of, like, it's just literally everywhere. You got this dialogue, you got the chop up, you got Twitter Spaces that we all about to be up in a little bit more often here, because Lee had a great conversation today. I should go check out his timeline and go see what we're talking about. But I just want to make sure people know that you need to be following everything. You need to be following Consciously, Toya G, the Political Plug, the Chop Up Show, every platform. The Chop Up Show is on Twitter. Chop Up Show Pod. You know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all connected and know what's good. We happy y'all in here. Definitely happy to see y'all. But George is blowing it up today on Twitter, and I got a chance to sit in there and listen to
last I want to say too.
Roll some niggas tonight.
The straight agenda is systemic. The straight agenda is systemic. That Florida bill that got passed where you can't say gay in the classroom, that is an instance of systemic straight agenda. This Texas bill, this bill that got passed in Texas, that say that if you are a loving parent of a transgender child and you are affirming your kid's identity, you are a bad parent and child abuse, that's a straight agenda. Those two things are literal examples of straight agenda.
In real time.
Dialogue.
I ain't got to go back in time. I ain't got to go history. This shit just passed yesterday.
Well, all right, look, and so what y'all getting right now is really just the after effect of a nigga getting cooked in the Twitter Spaces. Consciously, and he invaded somebody's Twitter space, some dude Twitter space that was going on about the days
we ain't giving no class.
We don't give him some education elevation. I recognize though, bro is trying. What it is he's been indoctrinated and he lost in the sauce of indoctrination. I made a video today. Listen, I don't knock people when they've been miseducated. I knock you when you are invested in the way you've been miseducated.
Exactly. When you're not willing to say I don't know enough about the topic or a subject, so let me be quiet. I can't trust you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, so what you said his name was Blackshin? Right?
His name was Blackshin from Houston, Texas. You feel me? Shout out to everybody in Houston, Texas. He was from the east side of Houston. Shout out to everybody in East. I got some family over there in the South Park, Hersheywood, But it's important that we had these conversations because I know that people like Toya loved. I wasn't as egregious as oh boy. I ain't gonna cap. I ain't even gonna be facetious at all. But I had some homophobic, transphobic hiccups coming up. 31 now. I ain't 18 no more. She let me out 18, 19. Toya loved on me in many different instances and made it where I wasn't thrown to the wolves or I wasn't counseled or I wasn't labeled as exposable and disposable. She recognized I had a love and passion for people and that I had been indoctrinated.
Yeah. Unlearning.
Unlearning.
You know
so I'm trying to be somebody's Toya. Basically, I'm trying to be somebody's Toya. Like I'm trying to help.
Hey, sometimes it calls for tough love. Sometimes it calls for tough love. I'm in the chat right now. Should we as Black folks care about the Ukraine thing? We're gonna talk about that.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna talk about that.
Hey, in the words of Huey P. Newton, think globally and act locally. In the words of Huey P. Newton, act globally. Think globally and act locally. And I think that's important. I'm sorry, Damo. You know I'm that hack.
I mean, nah. We're gonna talk about it though, because I want to get y'all perspective on my opinion, because I do come off as negative sometimes, and I have a very
hold on. Let's before we start the show, go on with the intro, and then let's jump into.
That's true. That's real.
It ain't even no point.
We're not gonna play the intro, so play the intro real quick.
We know how we do. We start the show the way that we always.
In the city, we gon' slide. Bet I be there pronto. Me, my guys, we really live. Lord forgive me, pay my tithes. Please don't have me reach inside. And that's in the console. Keep the semi when I ride. Lit off Henny when I drive. In the city, we gon' slide. Bet I be there pronto.
What's going on? What's good with you, Chop Nation? Chop Nation, it's your girl, Toya G. I'm with y'all on a Thursday night. Get used to it, because this is what we cover to y'all from now on. Make sure you don't get it twisted. You're looking for us on Mondays. You might not catch us these Thursdays. It's where it's
right. Thirsty Thursdays.
A little bit. Speaking of, when y'all introduce yourself, I'm gonna get some water in my little cheese cup. I still have hope. Don't hate on me. But I'm here with my partners. Who am I hanging out with tonight?
Hey, it's the political plug, man. Y'all, nowadays, these are the days where y'all need me. We're gonna talk. Let's get it.
Hey, Megan, this is also streaming on YouTube. It's your boy George Lee, aka Conscious Lee. Don't forget the Lee. You can find me at theconsciously.com if you want to book me, if you want to learn about the curriculum development that I'll be doing, if you want to, you know what I'm saying, enroll into my online course, or if you want to ask me a random ass question. Theconsciously.com is where you do that. You know, my motto is education is elevation. Hey, shout out to John Moss, LOL, literally the first big Black TikToker that really made it where I was able to get into TikTok and make it a home. Hey, John, on some real shit, bro. When you reached out to me in 2019, when I had goddamn 7,000 followers, how many followers I had, bro, seeing that blue check and you communicating with me, it literally went a far way. And I just want to acknowledge, bro, what you did with me, how it impacted, fam. So definitely want to make sure, shout out to you, Black man.
Shout out to him. Shout out to him. Toya's back.
What's good? Well, since I'm back, I don't want to get in the way of this conversation. We got to talk Ukraine. We got to talk Russia. We got to talk the United States and the triangulations therein. But before we do that, we got to plug what's happening this weekend, because Saturday is a big day. You know, it's a big day. It's a big day. I am pleased to re-announce, to officially declare Saturday a big day for the Chop Up Show. We are officially going to be a part of the NAACP live experience on Hollywood and Highland in Hollywood, California, right? We're going up to LA real quick. I'm in OC. Damo is up in North Hollywood.
I invited my country ass to the West Coast.
Conscious Lee is coming to California, y'all, and we are doing a live show. As a matter of fact, we're doing our Black History Month Awards at the NAACP 53rd annual Image Awards. Right? So an award show at an award show. We're doing the awards at the awards. And what's going to make it crack is that
this is our third annual too. This is our third annual Black History Month Awards.
Absolutely. And so what we need from y'all is to make sure y'all tap in. When y'all see the notifications go up, when y'all see that the Chop Up Show is live, Consciously is live on Saturday.
This Saturday.
It's 4 o'clock Pacific. Okay, it's 4 o'clock Pacific time. So do your time zone math. If you're in Central, that's 6 p.m. If you're over there on the East Coast, that's 7 p.m. We're going live on YouTube. We're going live on Facebook, and we want y'all in here when we do our 3rd annual Black History Month Awards at the 53rd annual NAACP
Image Awards. Live experience.
Yeah, please help me let them know how crazy.
Hey, I just know that all of us grew up watching BET, and I think that all of us grew up hearing about the NAACP in some capacity. I think that most people that's watching us on social media, we did this organically. You feel me? Ain't none of us got no people in the industry. We ain't got no family members or people in our neighborhood that's tied to the NAACP or nothing like that. So we hope that this is inspirational for everybody watching this, because it shows you can get it out the mud. 10 toes down, stay consistent. You feel me? If you can accept that Yeah, but I want to say this: like, you can accept. There's gonna be some hard shit for some people to accept, but if you can accept, your biggest supporter is gonna be a stranger, and your biggest hater probably gonna be somebody you know and love. You can accept that as just a truism and not take it personal. You're gonna be able to do some shit in here. But if you can't take that as it's true and you take it personal, you're gonna have some hard times though, man. But just stay down till you come up. Shout out to the NAACP, shout out to BET, shout out to everybody in Cali, man, especially in LA.
So if you're gonna be a part of the NAACP live experience, make sure y'all tap in with us. If you ain't gonna be there, at least tune in to the Consciously on Facebook and YouTube, or the Chop Up Show on Facebook and YouTube, and you will be able to take part in that live experience. We trying to get all the guests that we can. They talking about getting some of the nominees to get interviewed in between us doing these awards.
Shout out to my cousin.
Yeah, I mean, it's some conversation that we're trying to have with people that's there. So, I mean, a lot of Black businesses, you know what I'm saying, are going to be presented and supported and put on. So make sure y'all tap in, man. This is the Chop Up making moves, and we want the Chop Nation to be a part of them moves. Y'all witness it. Because we don't want y'all coming back.
We're coming through the back door.
Once we doing the major deals, we don't want y'all coming back talking about, nah, stick with us now.
But I'm gonna say too, this is why I love our setup with StreamYard, and I love the chat because we can see who's been riding with us. So when y'all pop up on us later, like, hey, I'm gonna be like, yes, absolutely. And I ain't gonna say no names, but y'all know who y'all are who've been riding, who've been holding us down. We definitely appreciate it. I will say this name because we definitely get a blessing. I got a blessing this evening from Noel. Shout out to you for dropping us a little gift to show and push us toward the goals and the missions that we have. You know, we gonna be able to take some pictures, do a little photo shoot when Lee is out here. We're gonna be able to network and have some big conversations, and so stuff like that really just helps us kind of out. So shout out to Noel for sure, and shout out to everybody else saying congratulations, showing love, saying we deserve it, saying we work for it, everything. We see all of that. The last comment I want to acknowledge is AJ. AJ, hit us up on our Instagram for right now at the Chop Up Show on IG. Share any information you have for us there, or the chop up email at gmail.com. The chop up email at gmail.com, or just send it to our Instagram, the Chop Up Show, at the Chop Up Show on IG. We can talk about whatever it is that you got on the table. If it look good and feel good, we got it.
Definitely gonna stay humble, Patty. Appreciate that too, man. Definitely appreciate that. But definitely make sure we stay humble. Don't forget where we come from at all. Don't never start drinking your own Kool-Aid or tooting your own damn horn too much. You feel me?
I don't know how to do it. But with that being said,
thank you.
Let's go ahead and get into this Snapchat, man, because it's gonna be a short. Because we are coming to y'all Thursday. George's gonna be coming out here with us tomorrow, so we're gonna keep it short.
Coming out on Saturday, so it's Thursday. We're gonna just keep it a little quick show tonight. A lot of people have been having dialogue and a lot of questions about this Ukraine-Russia thing. Is it a redo of the powder keg that we learned about in school about how, you know what I'm saying, that one world war started type shit? It's gonna be equivalent to that. You know what I'm saying? It's starting to feel like that way. I think political plug though gonna be able to, you know what I'm saying? So shit.
Just to get the dialogue started. For those that don't know, I don't know if you could not have heard, but Russia invaded Ukraine this morning. And when we mean by invade, we talking old school troops on the ground, missiles in the air. You know what I'm saying? Infantry fighting. You feel me? Chernobyl.
From all sides, from all directions. Like I seen the map of Ukraine lit up with the hot spots of where they are, and it's red dots just all around the border of the country where they came from all directions.
Right. Now, what needs to be understood is that as much as the media or right-wing media will try to portray it as this thing, like this spontaneous thing that just happened, or it's just now coming into view, Russia has been posturing to actually take Ukraine for quite a while now, and we're gonna discuss the fact that Russia don't even think that Ukraine should exist. We'll talk about why. You know what I'm saying?
Earlier this week,
right?
That's wild too.
But let's be clear: Russia has already annexed a part of Crimea a few years ago, or a part of Russia a few years ago with Crimea. At that time, that was
what's Crimea, bro? I don't know what that is. What that is? What's Crimea? What is that?
It was a city in Ukraine, and pretty much Russia took. Annex means like when you come up and just take.
I know what annex means. So you saying they took a city, bro?
Yeah, they already did that.
The same way as we got Hawaii and Alaska is what they did that through.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a few years ago though, bro. Like that's recent history, right? So we know that Russia has had this relationship with Ukraine from the get-go, like for a while. This go back, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about the fact that it go back. But this morning, it reached levels that people ain't wanted to reach, right? Because now people got to start posturing. You feel me? Now you got the UN got to make statements, but Russia's on the Security Council. The fuck is so? What is that gonna do, right? Ukraine isn't a NATO country, so the United States does not have any direct ties to or commitments to provide any type of military relief, even though they have been providing funds and weapons, that type of thing. So we see a proxy war developing. But what's happening is something that's been building up, and really, there's some things on both sides with both the United States, NATO, and Russia, as well as what's going on within Ukraine, that has kind of led to this point, right? So I first want to start off with what, like, in terms of what y'all seen when it popped off. How did y'all hear about it? Like, for me, it was
appreciate the
province, city.
No, appreciate that. Appreciate that clarification.
It was an area. You know what I'm saying?
But how did you said our first response? What was our first response to what?
Yeah. What was y'all initial like? How did y'all get it? Like, for my wife, for me, you know what I'm saying, she's like, "Did you know Russia? I mean, I just woke up, so she was like, "Did you know Russia invaded Ukraine?" I just woke up, like, so nah. Let me look into it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I got it. How did y'all get it? How did y'all get it this morning?
No, I got the news in a CNN ticker that dropped down on the top of my phone, and I think I was doing something or whatever. And so I looked down and seen whatever, short headline. I was just like, these niggas really did it. Like, I think that was my response in my head, is like, we knew that it was, a very tentative and very touchy situation. We knew that things on the brink, but it always hits different when it happens. And it was before the images and the pictures showed up. So I'm just like, I'm seeing this news, this very vanilla headline, and all I'm thinking is, man, ain't no telling the turmoil that's going on. You know what I'm saying? The headline is at least an hour, 2 hours after the actual action. So shebang is already going, like, people is already, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, it's already rough, it's already bad, it's already casualties, it's already civilian deaths, it's already recklessness. And then, of course, soon after that, we started getting the images of the bombs and the backgrounds and the sound and the audio, and then the feeds we got started to escalate. And so heavier and heavier over time. But my first response was just like, they really did it. This shit is about to go.
Man, my first response, I preface it. I think that I was on like some pessimistic, selfish nigga shit, being real with you. You feel me? When I first heard about it, I thought about it like, God damn, how's all of y'all have this much energy for the humanity of Ukrainian people, but we drop drones on people every day.
Yeah.
Not saying that Ukrainian people doesn't matter, but in my mind, I'm thinking like, how do y'all pick and choose whose lives matter in terms of ballistics and shit? You feel me? The people in Palestine been getting bombed for goddamn free Palestine. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm thinking about it like, hold on now.
Do you remember what happened with Syria?
Bro, I'm being real with you, bro. That's how my first thoughts was like, damn. So when niggas is asking for reparations and we asking for all type of different social services to be able to, that requires research and finance to do something for us, y'all start acting like some penny pinching ass fiscal hustlers. I don't know, niggas. That's gonna cost too much. Niggas, who gonna pay for the taxes? Man, we gonna send billions or millions of dollars over there. Ain't nobody asking about who paying for it. Ain't nobody talking about the fiscal dollars. I'm thinking like, damn, boy, this a European doublespeak is real right here, man. Yeah. We bombing a whole bunch of people in that Horn of Africa right now. And I'm seeing the American media like, oh my God, those niggas in the Horn of Africa, you don't care about them.
I seen a tweet right before we got on that said this woman was like, watching the empathy that is had for and the deserved empathy, I think she said, that is being had for the Ukrainian people is surreal, because I remember none of Ukraine. Yeah. The people of Ukraine, because I remember none of this in relationship to the Iraqi people, my Iraqi people, when they were being bombed. You know what I'm saying? And so she was like, to see the conversations on the timeline, and it took me back to more my context for a lot of terrorism and the ways that we kind of project and group and scoop whole groups of people was with Afghanistan, right? And 9/11, and the lack of compassion that was had, like just the lack of the ability to parse out the bad people from the just the people. Like none of that compassion was there before. So that really is it's a weird disconnect.
The pick and choose when humanity matter to me. So it's just like, hey, listen, the Ukrainians matter, but it shows me that you have selective moral outrage when it comes to people being casualties of imperialism. When you think that the Horn of Africa, people in Somalia or Sudan or goddamn, you feel me? I can't even think of some other African countries right now that's getting bombed on a daily basis. It's like, where was this at? But listen, if you're from Ukraine and you listening, I'm not. What you going through, it matters. My heart go out to you. I follow people that literally live in Ukraine right now. I follow this young woman today on TikTok. We literally TikTok friends. And she is crying about how her mother is Russian Ukrainian and she's on the Russian side. And she's literally thinking about, she's pregnant, first of all. She's pregnant. She about to be having a baby type shit. I'm gonna show the video to my page tomorrow. And she's talking about how she recognizes that when America put sanctions on Russia, she's had to send all the money she can to her mother because her mother depends on her financially to be able to survive. So we're recognizing that real lives are being impacted by this. But I think it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like Toya said, we can walk and chew them at the same time. I can acknowledge that humanity and the general welfare of Ukrainian people and how we should care about that. But I also can acknowledge the lack and how we don't have the same energy when it comes to people in the Middle East or people in Africa or people in South America. Like you don't care about them.
You don't look the same.
Well, and that's why I think that's a great place to move into like the way that this news gets disseminated and the conversations that we get caught up into and how we ignore the role imperialism plays in like whose side to take type shit or who's in the right, who's in the wrong. Because the one thing we got to do, and George put the video out about this on his YouTube, on his TikTok page, is that we have to. It was on your
Facebook page,
the one we talked about earlier, before the show. Okay, so George put on his Facebook page where he was talking about there's a distinction between it, and Toya pointed it out too: the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian government. Like the decisions that lead to this type of shit, like happening, them getting invaded, the people ain't making them decisions. Right, because a part of what needs to be understood is that a large part of the reason why Putin is really pressed on Ukraine right now is because Ukraine has been openly courting being a part of NATO, which is something he does not fuck with, right? And when we talk about beef between NATO and Russia, we talking about imperialism. We talking about imperialist powers, right? The people of Ukraine are literally pawns in a larger conversation. And that's why I'm sorry I got to give it to y'all like this. But at the end of the day, we are spectators in literally in the global chessboard. Yeah. Right? And what happened to us, thank you. What happened to us as regular people is just the side effect. That shit just gonna happen. It's just gonna be casualties, right? And one thing we learned about in debate is this term called utilitarianism. Yeah. And it's looking at deaths and these things from the perspective of a percentage. Because if you look at a bunch of people dying and say, well, only 1% of who was in the area died, right? Like, okay, 1%, that's not bad. But that 1% could be 10,000 people.
Yeah.
10,000 people died, right? But the way that we to speak to what y'all talking about.
We learned with them COVID numbers, okay, percentages. Don't be misled. A little number is a lot of people.
A little number is a lot of fucking people. So when we talk about, and it's hard to rely on like numbers that come out of these areas because again, media is so rife with propaganda and people trying to manipulate conversations, especially like from the higher places up. So Nick, we up there, you got black people going full Red Dawn. If y'all ain't seen Red Dawn, Wolverines, you know what I'm saying? Like. The Russia invaded the United States. Because the idea you get infiltrated with the propaganda of they harming these innocent people. You feel me? Not Ukraine is trying to get in bed with the United States, and motherfucking Putin is not having that. That's really what's happening.
That's really the backstory.
And so when we're talking about it, we thinking about the people, but this is just again. The global cabal moving in ways that's like, nah, this is my little piece. Y'all not taking my little piece. I'm not about to let y'all have it. And we're gonna see how far y'all gonna go. I know how far I'm gonna go to keep it. How far y'all gonna go to take it from me though?
Yeah, because I think on either way is give an inch, take them out. You know what I'm saying? If you give Russia an inch, if you let them assume that they are able to dictate and determine what NATO, what whole governing organizations, what the United States role is. If you let them dictate that and push that around, then all of a sudden the hegemonic power and imbalance becomes worse for the United States. But the same thing can be said for Russia. Give it an inch, they take them out. I'm gonna be like you said, what you gonna do to come get it? I'm not giving you nothing. Not a piece of land, not a square mile, not a come take it. And we heard, you know what I'm saying, Putin earlier this month very quickly identified that wasn't the Leninist and Stalinist kind of eras that allowed for the current separations or kind of the separations that exist with the pieces of land that are in Ukraine to be taken away from Russia in the first place. Like he was like, listen, like the real context of what history should say and the way the geography should play out, I ain't got shit to do with what they decided, but we keeping our stuff. That's ours. It been ours. Those politics don't necessarily influence it, so you're gonna have to come and take back what we are declaring as ours. And I think that is a very clear example both ways of how, giving an inch and taking a mile is not an option for either side of the people on this conflict or in this conflict.
So I think my computer is having issues. I wanted to play a TikTok video of this young lady breaking down the Putin and or the Ukraine and Russia conflict in terms of it being a toxic relationship. And let me explain it. The way that it's been broken down is that Ukraine left a toxic relationship that it had with Russia. Like, left them alone. I ain't doing it no more. Independence, right? Russia's that toxic ex that's like, no. If you not leaving me. Nah, if you
can't leave till I say you can leave. This relationship ain't open until I say it's overhead ass.
Right. And Ukraine is like, no, I'm done with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm moving on with my life. I'm trying to be my own democracy. Doing my
part. Not even no, but also I've moved on. I've changed. You literally blocking my ability to do shit like establish my own credit, open my own bank accounts, whatever. A lot of what your actions are doing are what are denying me my inalienable rights as a mature, experienced, functioning democracy at this point. I don't want no parts. So it's crazy. That analogy is very apt for this.
Now, while that analogy works, right, and it helps people kind of understand it, it's a few layers to that we need to add to it for it to be an understanding, right? There's always been, this was a toxic relationship from the jump. When Vladimir Putin says that Ukraine technically shouldn't exist, right? He's speaking to the fact that back in the 1700s, there was a Russian empire, and Ukraine was once a part of that empire. He's talking about a time where Russia, as in an ancient time or medieval time, I guess, where, because it wouldn't be considered ancient, but a time where we literally had standing armies just taking places up and saying we control this, right? There are always groups of people that live in these places, but it's the major hegemony that gets to write their history, right? And Ukraine has always.
Hold on. You said a word that I didn't know before I got into the debate. So listen, y'all, this is how I understand this word hegemony. It's really a political word for gangster thug shit. Get down and lay down. American hegemony mean that in the international realms, America gonna be that gangsta ass motherfucker that you could not stand in your neighborhood that literally do not play by the rules. They get to say what they want to say to you when they want to say it, and when you respond to them, your ass better walk on eggshells. That's where American hegemony is. I want to make sure we understand that American hegemony is about
the power,
leadership.
The force. Yes.
It's about global leadership and about how the rest of the nation states concede to your leadership, i.e. I'm the biggest gangster on the street, and it's all about how these other little motherfuckers respond to me. If they don't respect my gangster, I got to prove to them and make an example out of them of why they should respect my gangster. And that's really international relations. It really show you how they play games with black folks. These white folks is really, that's like European nation states. That's what I'm gonna say. I want to European nation states literally are masterful of what they try to say on a micro level in terms of gangster shit. When you talk about Bloods and Crips is crazy, Ukraine or Russia got them.
But you know what? But we're gonna take it even a step further, right? So one, Putin doesn't believe that Ukraine should exist based on the Russian Empire that took over Ukraine way, you know what I'm saying, back in the 1700s. Okay. Second, if we go with this toxic relationship analogy, right? If we being real, okay. Russia, Ukraine was dating a gangbanger, a blood, okay. That she was dating Ukraine was dating a blood. It was hella bad. It was a terrible relationship. They get their freedom, they get their independence, they trying to leave them alone. That blood is like, no, I'm not gonna leave you alone. In the midst of that happening, in the midst of her telling of Ukraine, let me stop feminizing, but in the midst of Ukraine telling this blood gangster that they are in a relationship with, no, right? They're trying to holler at a crip. The United States.
The nerve.
This is where
you trying to mess with the op. You trying to rock with the ops now. I'm spinning the block now. I know where your mama stay at. I know. Remember, your auntie like me.
Yeah,
spinning the block.
But that's the problem. Ukraine going from one toxic relationship, this gang banging blood, to another toxic relationship, this gang banging crip. So really, the blood is really taking it to next levels, right? Because the crib moving in their crib. You on the block that I'm on, bro. You in the area that I'm at. And if you take it another step further, there are already a lot of Russian states that are already NATO allies. Yeah, that are tied up with NATO already. This is like,
and to recognize when he's saying NATO too, this is like literally, I'm not going to LA. We recognize that it's the whole bunch of different sets of like Bloods and Crips. And we know that just because you're a part of this blood set, don't mean you rock with all Bloods. Just because you're a Crip, don't mean you rock with all Crips.
Don't mean you rock with all
International relations work the same way.
This works the same. They gangs. And Ukraine has been openly saying now, and again, we separating the Ukrainian people from the Ukrainian government. The Ukrainian government is one of the most corrupt governments in the world, like documented statistically. Y'all know all of that y'all know that Hunter Biden's laptop.
That was Ukraine.
That was Ukraine. That was Ukraine.
And for y'all that don't know, Hunter Biden is Joe Biden's son. You feel me? Remember when Trump was trying to use Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, against him in the election? He was trying to use shit that he got from Putin. Like, hey, I heard what you was doing in my, you know what I'm saying, my ex's, you know what I'm saying, house. I know what you did. So he was literally trying to do that. Another comment I seen said that Putin loves to pop up right-wing governments or right-wing movements all around the world. It's a reason why Putin and Trump was trying to be cool.
Yeah.
They was trying to be slimes together.
Yeah. I mean, and that was because there are instances that Putin knows that's going to be favorable for me. Period. Like, for example, the United Nations talking about they're putting together this resolution. If I'd have said it once, I'd have said it a million times. United Nations is useless when it comes to imperialism doing what imperialists do.
Hey, would you agree with this? I think that NATO facilitates with civility imperialism most of the time. That's how I would argue. Like the NATO is a cute, pretty, nice, soft power. I don't think debate soft power. That means that, hey, I got this stick if you don't want to comply. But listen, I'm gonna ask you nicely. But I will beat your ass if you don't comply. Soft power, you feel me? Like NATO really is like that. You know what I'm saying?
NATO is, let me pay me insurance for you to be protected.
Extortion.
Pay me insurance for you to be protected. You don't need insurance? What if this happens? Oh, damn. That vase broke. Well, if you pay me, your vases won't break. And if somebody break your vases, I'll pull up and make sure they don't do that. You just gotta, you know what I'm saying? That's what NATO is.
Some real mob gangster shit.
Bro, and that's why black people, when we talking about does this matter to us? Right? And y'all, because we know these are conversations that we had in debate a lot.
Bring it full circle.
We looking at imperialism like happen real time. You feel me? Real time. Like imperialism as in its relationship with capitalism, because I want to point this out and I want to get y'all thoughts on this. We doing the sanctions and shit, right? But they can literally cut Russia off global, like from all global markets, if they wanted to.
They can't though, because Russia is like the number 4 provider of oil globally.
Gas and shot up to $100 a barrel.
So when y'all ask the question, should we care about this? Does it matter? Shit, do niggas care about how much gas costs? But also I seen this video. I want to say this. I'm gonna be simple. Let's also make sure we're thinking about the full spectrum of how this accounts for, and let's not just boil down. We should care about what's going on in Ukraine and Russia because gas going up. Like, don't do that. Don't do like the white folks. Don't do white supremacy tactics.
Let me also remind you that it's not a corner of this earth that black people not at. So it's black Ukrainians. I thought I'd just put that out there for free. Baby Oku said that in the comments. I didn't get a chance to slide on that at first, but I also got to recognize, we have to recognize. I saw a reporter, I saw a journalist. And I think, who was that? AJ was talking about being connected to independent journalists out there. I saw a black man out there in the streets making sure we got and was talking similar, a little bit more elevated than what we're talking about right now. Was definitely, but on scene, had his camera out with his selfie stick, giving us live up to the minute, discourse about what's happening. So be very clear about the fact that these issues won't miss you. Gas is gonna shoot up. Danielle said it's gonna be $5 by the end of the week. I heard 6 to 7.
Listen, I don't know where Danielle is, but I live in California. I live in Los Angeles, so $5 gas, we live.
We already there. I bought gas for $5.15 in downtown LA yesterday, and my chest hurt. It hurt my heart. Right here, here. Now I live in the county of Orange. My gas is only sitting at, I think right now, $4.49. I
live in Hollywood. Only $4.49. Man, I live in Oklahoma. I'm down south. I walk goddamn to pay.
It's going
front door for sure.
Right. I mean, these are the reverberations of these things, right? But I think, and I want to get y'all thoughts on. I want to get y'all thoughts on this. What's happening is similar to when people are experiencing or like outwardly are experiencing the instances of violence in the United States, whether it's like to people of color, you know what I'm saying, to or what happens at the border, you feel me? And it's just like a sit-in, it's a spectator thing. You feel me? It's like because of the powers that are at play, we should care, but then there's also this sense of nihilism because it's like, well, what the fuck can we do?
What is nihilism?
Yeah, that word. What is nihilism, bro?
I mean,
be real too. That's a word I have trouble even defining myself now. I guess the way that I would explain is like ultimate pessimism. You know what I'm saying? That level of like no faith, no belief in any type of recourse, no expectation. Basically, that's a better way. So nihilism is basically the person like, I don't care, I'm gonna die anyway.
Exactly.
I don't care, I'm gonna die hungry anyway. People die every day. I don't care. That's nihilism.
1000%, because I look at pessimism and nihilism as kind of degrees of each other. I think pessimism allows for you to not care about a specific thing. Like I'm pessimistic about, for example, the United States and its ability to grapple with this racial and identity-based issues in a way that is meaningful and substantive for marginalized perspectives and identities. I don't think they'll ever come to terms with white supremacy. I don't think they'll ever come to terms with settler colonialism. I think they'll ever come to terms with the ways that gender violence happens and plays and the ways that all those intersect. I don't think it's happened. I'm pessimistic about that. However, within my pessimism, I still do things. I still function in the capacity and space to maintain and sustain space, compassion, community, investment in my people. I'm just pessimistic about that system. Nihilism is fucking off. It's all, none of it is worth, it's not worth, building community is worthless, right? Engaging in outreach, doing all these things is nothing because things like capitalism always wiggle their way into them and blow them up anyway. This is why nonprofits don't work, right? So invested in, you know what I'm saying, even some of the fixtures
like menace to society type shit. Like nihilism equals menace to society. Like
it's all for naught. And so I look at it as just kind of like I said, a component of degrees of I don't care, and I'm done, and I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, because I think what these things are examples of is how, like, as much as we look at like democracy as the saving grace of against imperialism and against fascism and that type of shit, like we see Ukraine. The thing that people are like pushing about Ukraine is that, oh, it's a European democracy, and you know they've been having elections and we already talk about how crooked they are, but at the same time, the power, the strength of any democracy comes down to its ability to be protected by its military. That makes every democratic state a military state, because if somebody pull up on you and say you come up off that like voting ain't gonna save shit. Voting isn't going to save a thing. So I want to double back to what you were saying though. Hold on, George. I want to double back when y'all were talking about the distinction between when we seeing what's happening in the Middle East and those deaths, civilians,
All lives don't matter type shit, literally.
Right?
Like, nah.
Right.
Then we go to Ukraine. You feel me? Like there is a correct me if I'm wrong. I want to get your thoughts on this. I'm gonna say this. There is because of the propaganda associated with Russia. Yeah, like I said, it's all a military state. It's all a police state.
Yeah.
All freedom is situated freedom. But yeah, you already know. We ain't gonna do that. We already know. That's another day.
All freedom is situated freedom.
They're having an inside conversation.
I'm sorry.
Robert Bird.
It's just some debate shit.
They're being debated. If y'all feel left out, I also didn't debate for the University of Oklahoma. It just didn't.
Okay. Hey, in a conversation with imperialism.
But
that part.
I'm being petty.
It's cognitive dissonance. It's cognitive dissonance. Y'all already know. But so what we're talking about, when we can look at the people and see how those people are being victimized and kind of being put on that pedestal to see, look at what Putin is doing. Look at what he's doing. You feel me? Mm-hmm. But it's our relationship with the comforts that American imperialism provides that allows us to look at what's happening in the Middle East and be like, damn, that's fucked up. Insurgents. Because my fault. Last thing I say, Cat Williams made a joke back in the day.
Come on.
Cat's genius.
Yeah, come on.
Cat Williams, genius. He said back in the day, like, how do you kill normal people in flip-flops and sweatpants and justify it? You call them insurgents.
Come on.
You call them terrorists. You label them a threat to justify annihilating them. Go ahead. I'm on mute.
1,000. And I ain't never met it. I've never looked up insurgency on a map. I don't even know where to locate it. They're not. These are caricatures we make up to justify the things that we do. I will say, right, and here's some more vocabulary for you. Since we have our debate grounds that we have, here's some debate vocabulary for you. It is infinitely regressive to sit up here and try to have a pissing, I wouldn't call it a pissing contest. I'll just say it's infinitely regressive to try to compare the worst imperialists. Russia is imperialist. The United States is super imperialist. All of those things are wrong. All of those things are bad. Trying to reconcile them, try to justify one thing or another, like all of it is bad. So let's not forget about the power or about the engine that powers a lot of what is given legitimacy or getting credibility. When it's all said and done, it is always an agenda of imperialism. It's always an agenda of settlerism. It's always an agenda of racialized violence. These are all, there's always an agenda of marginalization, right? And so in the same ways that we need to be, and I made this kind of connection to the class I was talking about earlier, sympathetic to the intricacies of what's happening in places like Palestine or with Palestinians and Israelis, is the same way we have to kind of use those same filters and lenses to understand the intricacies, the stickiness, the top level agendas of what is happening in the region of Ukraine and its relationship and juxtaposition to Russia, right? Still need to have that same critical thinking to understand like the bigger puppeteering that is at play as we see how a lot of these issues and this violence is playing out. You need that same thinking, Cap.
Yeah. And listen, I apologize to anybody this might offend, but me being me and how I think it's real crazy that internationally niggas get pathologized for black on black crime all the time. Whether we talking about Bloods and Crips or we talking about goddamn James Cone or whatever that dude named that was doing the Invisible Children. You see what I'm saying? Y'all peep game. There are two things that's different. We see the first thing is different on how we think about the humanity of Ukrainians compared to like Palestinians or Somalians. The second thing we see that's different is that whenever white people have beefs amongst each other, it's never devolved into just some uncivilized white on white crime. It's seen what's going on with Russia and Ukraine is seen as a civilized conflict within international relations. They're not seen as being savages. As a matter of fact, no one in the world would say, well, because the Russians is fucking over the Ukrainians, I get to fuck over the Ukrainians too. They're literally only the Russians have that idea mainly, and they allies of the Ukrainians. We see that everybody's not buying into that idea. It's something insidious about how black on black crime get bought into. Everybody in the world literally buys into, hey man, if niggas enslave each other, we can enslave them too. If niggas are corrupt to each other, we can be corrupt too. If niggas steal from each other, we can steal from them too.
There you go.
Bomb each other, we can bomb too. I think that's
there you go.
You feel me? That's like, wow. So that's how y'all really feel. And just keep that in mind. Tomorrow, when you wake up and you watch CNN or Fox News, you Google what's happening in Somalia right now. Go Google what's happening in Syria. You feel me? Those people, they don't look like Ukrainians. I would argue.
We did just moved on. We did just like think about it. Like how was Syria resolved?
Niggas don't even know because it's like, you feel me? And to be still think about it, it's like American government wasn't like, oh my God, Israel, if you keep on doing those Palestinians like that, we're gonna sanction you. We gave Israel money to do the shit to the Palestinians. You see what I'm saying? So you get to see how allies and axes will be learned in World War I and World War II.
But we can't move off this though, real quick, George. We can't move off that. We can't move off that because all of the outrage associated with Donald Trump posturing for Israel, there's been nothing to double back on that since Biden has been president. There's been nothing to double back on that since Biden has been president. Ain't been a focus. There's been no level of importance, right? And so, I mean, when you have campaign conversations, it's always, they should respect the two-state option and all of this other shit, all that conversation. When you have no repercussions, you can call those things out when there's no repercussions. Absolutely. But when you are responsible, when it's directly tied, when it's something that you could do about it, you leave that alone because it's these people over here we got to deal with. And I'm gonna be more clear about this inside debate joint. Democracy. When was this? Like 2013, 2012. Toya George, democracy promotion was the topic.
That would have been 2000. That was my last season. I'm getting old. Graduated in 2012, so that would have been the
that was 2012, right? Yeah, I got it right. 2012, yeah.
I'm like that.
So it was democracy promotion to
democracy assistance to Bahrain, Syria, Egypt,
Yemen, Libya,
the Arab Spring,
Bahrain,
and Bahrain. The 5 topic areas.
Right. Those were the topic areas. Okay. The argument that we made at that time specifically was the focus on democracy over there masked the lack of that shit here.
Facts.
The ways in which, go ahead, tell you.
The one phrase I use to explain this idea is that we cannot export the dream of democracy without confronting the reality of democracy. How is it that we send democracy to someplace else when we've never experienced it or actualized it for ourselves? How do you send something you don't know what it looked like? Oh, I'm gonna bake you a cake and send it, but you never sat in the kitchen and dealt with a stove in your life. What are you talking about? There is zero correlation.
That's literally like you having a bullshit ass daddy. Your daddy bullshit as hell, trifling as hell. He don't care about you. He don't love you. He talking about transporting being a good daddy to a different household. Like, nigga, how you gonna be a good daddy to that household? You ain't the daddy over here. How you gonna promise them democracy? We ain't got democracy here. It's funny that all 3 of us debated with different people this year, but we all had the same argument one way or another. How me and Rashid broke it down, we literally say simple: focus over there, mask over here. What this means is that the democracy is rigged. In order for you to unrig, the baby's rigged. In order to unrig the baby, we got to unrig democracy. That was literally the argument we used to make. Like, hey, yeah, this shit rigged. So we see now with Ukraine and Russia, it's rigged.
It's rigged.
All right. Now we said we was gonna keep this. We was gonna keep this a short one. And I think George was right when he was like, "Man, this gonna take up the whole shit." So we approach it. We're approaching the 48 minute mark, but. I do want to before I let y'all say y'all piece on it, anything else, any additional things y'all want to add. I want to say this just because I want to make sure we don't leave without answering this question because I feel like we answered it, but there's another way I want to explain this. Okay, the Black community is American. Whatever happened to America happened to the Black community, right? That we can't, as much as we want to be like when we talk about black dollars and black, like all of that shit. Yeah, we say that shit.
We gonna be collateral damage to some American shit. Them inner cities that's full of niggas, those gonna be the spots they probably want to hit. You feel me? So think about the disproportionate ways in which people of color, specifically black people, are gonna be impacted.
Now, let me be clear too. Black people can also get caught up and be pushers of imperialist propaganda.
Yes,
it's very easy.
Yeah,
and that's because as much as we consider ourselves separate, we Americans.
We here. We pay taxes to the American government.
That propaganda is a part of how we've been socialized.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so
America's when this country,
when we talking about our issue with the police and their ability to like how they just shot that young man just by kicking their door in. Oh, you pulled the gun. I shot you. It was justified. There are no repercussions. It's the same. Like what you see with Russia and Ukraine. It's the same thing on a global scale. It's that power. It's that influence. That the ability to be able to impose violence when they deem it necessary, and because they are in control, suffer no repercussions from it. It's about maintaining that control. And what we need to understand is that this is where Whoopi needs to pull out that statement. And this is not to be insensitive to the people of Ukraine, because again, we're talking about what these governments are doing and how they end up as collateral damage. But this is white on white violence.
This is white on white violence.
This is white on white violence. Right. And the last thing we need to do is pick sides on white violence. Just understand the ways that we are used and manipulated to push they shit, they propaganda, they understand, and all of that shit. You feel me? So that's how Black people need or understand how that shit impact us. Don't be a propagandist. Don't get yourself caught up in some shit that don't benefit you. Make sure you understand that ain't no enemy of my enemy is a friend. That's them.
Yeah,
they own that.
That's them politics, that ideology.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Toya?
Are we giving closing thoughts about this topic or about the show? We're closing out the show. What are we doing right now?
This topic, because you're gonna.
My last thoughts about this topic. Yeah. To be clear, I want to answer and then Robin is saying we're getting reported for comments. So y'all just flood the comments with other stuff. Keep doing what you're doing. I don't know how to fix these problems. People gonna hate, potatoes gonna potato.
Shout out to you, Robin, for telling us that too.
Exactly. Showing us love, Robin. You a real one for even kind of sticking through and dealing with
and we ain't even talking about race like that. Like we kind of like implying it, but we talk about imperialism, capitalism, that type of shit. Like,
international politics. We're literally talking about international politics, dog.
The only thing I want to clarify before I throw it over to Lee is Andy Peasy is saying what other choices are there other than democracy or dictatorship. That's what I'm speaking about. I think there was another comment about the fact that there are other democracies around the world outside of the United States. Our beef is not with democracy. We would just like to experience the actualization of democracy. What does it look like for fair representation? One of the largest political issues we have in this country related to democracy is voting rights and the Voting Rights Act, but it gets pushed to the bottom of the list of things that we're reconciling that we still need to deal with, because these are big issues that affect every single state in this country. And something as simple as voting, that is the simplest way to demonstrate democracy and embody it, and we can't even fix that. So our argument is not that democracy is bad, it is good. The notions and logics of democracy are very much tribal. They connect to us as African people and Africans, right? There was a system and a structure that had leaders, that had caste systems, but also had the component of a tribal element that allowed for people to participate, to engage, and to allow for the sharing of thoughts, perspectives, and ideas that made our people stronger. So democracy is not bad and not unfamiliar. We are simply saying that in the quest for the perfection of democracy, we ought not forget that we have not experienced democracy. So how dare you attempt to project or to export said democracy? That's not, we make corn, we make tobacco, we make a lot of shit in this country. One of the things we do not make and are not in the position to share with other people, other countries, is democracy. We don't make that here. And that's just the sad reality of it. So we're not opting into dictatorship. That's not an option for us either. But 1000%, we got to be rooted in pursuit of
keep up that fight.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is that our beef is really with the hegemonic nature of American democracy. We recognize that from an international standpoint, especially in Western countries, most of those other democratic nations are trying to mirror the hegemonic nature of American democracy. What we're acknowledging is that when we transport democracy abroad from America, it already come disengaged and broken, because like, hey, Native people, Black people, trans people, women, children, disabled people, poor people are all people in America that are still waiting to get that democracy they promised. So what does it mean for America to transport democracy internationally and they haven't given it to their citizens? That's what our beef is with. It's not, and we recognize democracy is not a European, invention. We recognize that democracy existed before Europeans. So we're not giving them more credit than they deserve. But what we are acknowledging is the uniqueness or the nuance American hegemony and how it is transported to other countries, and how niggas uniquely are literally messed over and being like, hey, now all
here's
lives
the angle.
matter. But
here's hold on. Here's the angle in it. They'll tell you that America and white people did create democracy. That's what they would have you believe. So, with that being said, man,
can I put on one other thing?
Yeah.
A lot of the justifications for the United States getting itself and sticking itself out there in this whole democracy conversation is because other countries are committing these human rights violations. You realize a lot of that rhetoric, the way that you treat people, the way that you are behaving toward innocent people and civilians is something that we can't put up with. They say the same rhetoric when we talk about our relationships with China and the Uyghur Muslims, right? And so on and so forth.
Ooh,
very ironic that we don't talk about our own human rights violations issues that exist. I always find it weird that the United States is like, you're bad on the human rights tip. What are you doing in the United States?
What are y'all doing about them Uyghurs though?
So this is the confusion that I'm talking about, and that we're talking about when we say you were just in over. You don't have the receipts, baby. You don't have the range to talk about some democracy. Like, what do you even mean in terms of policing and keeping and towing the line and keeping people in line in that regard? Just sit back, sit on your hands, and learn something from some of these other countries that Andy Peasy's talking about.
That actually we may be talking about democracy in next week's political chat.
I mean, maybe we should.
We should. I think we should literally like explore the archive of democracy, the origin of democracy, and how that shit then transcended throughout time, so we can literally separate it from white supremacy and recognize the unique ways and how it's been able to, like, you feel me, create civilizations in like Africa, South America.
What should Black people's relationship to democracy be in the United States? Maybe democracy will work more meaningfully someplace else. What should we think? How should we relate to?
What are the barriers? Why are we saying we got an issue with democracy? What would make that?
So I'm letting you know, I timestamped the 54-minute mark. I think that we should we don't get no videos out with this one video about Toya the 54 mark.
No, I mean, to be for real, I didn't put out nothing on this topic just because like I wanted to get my thoughts together and then have this conversation. Because like I really don't like, because it's a lot of Ukraine and it's you know what I mean, like instant knee jerk
reactions,
and this is what George, because George is kind of like, you know what I'm saying, we all building brands, and George was the first one to do it, so we like he speak on what he see, and he's saying, Damo, nigga, you the political plug, I ain't seen no videos, you know what I mean, we talk Ukraine, you've been invaded, what's up? And I had to tell him, I'm like, bro, like I cannot just say shit. I cannot pick up a camera.
That's for me and him different. Give consciously a mic, you don't let that shit fly on God.
Hey, look,
give me some attention.
Nah, see, put me on stage. That's different though. I'm talking about when it's up to me, and I'm like, all right, I'm about to get in front of this motherfucker. No, my phone broke.
Shit.
But I'm about to get in front.
My kids ain't around. My kids can be around. It's on my mind right now. I got an itching feeling that I got to say some shit. I feel
yeah.
And you know what? If I said something wrong, I apologize and I say I was wrong later words. But right now, I'm gonna this in my heart.
Yeah, I'm the type of nigga. I gotta read as much before because if it's anything and any gaps in my knowledge, I gotta fill them before. And so I'm glad I was able to, you know what I'm saying, get this off. And there's gonna be more conversations because this is something that's gonna continue. So with that being said, Toya, go ahead and close it out.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna close it out real simple, real plain, the same way I kind of started us off. We got big business on Saturday, baby. We going down. If y'all didn't know, if y'all missed the big announcement, we will be participating in the NCAA. I keep saying NCAA. NAACP. I keep doing it.
Hey, I did that throughout all of college. No doubt. Okay, listen. I did that throughout all of college. I say NCAA. NCAA. Oh shit!
I'm gonna go back in time and tell y'all. We are participating in the NAACP live experience that is happening at the 53rd annual NAACP Image Awards that is happening this weekend, February 26th on Saturday, 4:00 Pacific. We need y'all here. So if that's 5:00 if you in the mountains, 6:00 if you in Central Time, 7:00 if you on the East Coast. But we need y'all tapped in on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you're
international. You gotta just go through the thing. I'm sorry, it's our international peeps. We saw we ain't got the conversions off top of the head, but then we go to Google and figure out what, you feel me, 8 p.m. Eastern time mean for your time zone. I do know we got people in Sweden. I know we got people in South Africa. I know we got people in the UK. I know we got people in Canada. I seen Australia, New Zealand. Shout out to everybody worldwide that watch Top of Show.
10% of our listeners don't even come from the United States. So shout out to y'all because we with some international vibes going on right now. But I need y'all.
We in like 13 countries.
Yeah,
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Wherever you are, this is a big opportunity for us. So if you love us like you say you love us, if you rock with us like you say you rock, we need y'all to pull up at the 53rd annual NAACP Image Awards. We are doing the 3rd annual Chop Up Show Black History Awards. We're going to be covering topics and giving our nominees for categories like Rest in Power. So, you know, we lose important and crucial people to the culture every single year. We're going to make sure we acknowledge some of those folks. We're going to give a Legacy Award. We're going to get a Legacy Award for somebody who, you know, has just been out here for a long time, who we think is somebody in their field and their lane just really killing stuff that we want to tip our hat to. The Youngin Award. So newcomers on the scene, people we see moving and shaking that we feel like we want to give some love and respect to for whatever reason. Right. History First Loves. So a chance to talk about, you know, and reflect on some of our heroes and think about some of the people who have come to us in the past year and been inspiring, encouraging us with the things that we know about what they've done. We're going to talk about some of our favorite LGBT icons, past, present, and really kind of make some connections with that. We're going to give this is one of my favorite ones, the We Love You But Pull It Together Award. We're going to give that award this year to the niggas who...
It's a tough love award. We actually gonna probably start calling it the Kanye West Award.
My God. My God. So these and then you know, who knows? We can come up with some more topics. We want to hear from y'all in the comments. We want y'all to get y'all nominations together. So again, this Saturday, the 3rd annual Black Chop Up Show Black History Month Awards is happening live. We're gonna be live on camera, looking good, on site, on location. We coming to California at the 53rd annual NAACP Image Awards at the NAACP Live Experience.
And just stay tuned though, because Lee gonna be out here. We gonna be big kicking it. We may just fuck around, go live on Instagram, go live on TikTok, go live on something, man. Like we getting the band together. We're getting the band back together.
Absolutely. Say Sister Soldier gonna be there. They trying to get all types of people that are nominees to walk through and participate in our space or in the space we're gonna be in. It's a special space created for content creators, for individuals who are moving and shaking in these industries and pushing conversations for Black business owners. So we really are humbled to be invited to be a part of this situation, and y'all are gonna make it even more special, right? So we're gonna be
recording across the street from Jimmy Kimmel Live. Actually, we're gonna be right across the street from Jimmy Kimmel Live.
I don't ask y'all for a whole lot. I don't think I ask y'all for too much of nothing. A like, maybe a love, a share, a subscribe every now and again. That's all I ask for. This time, I would love it if y'all pulled up on us and just had a good time with us on Saturday.
Please do.
Thank y'all so much. And for the people who can't make it, make sure y'all watch it later.
After the fact.
And make sure y'all listen to it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Blog Talk Radio. Y'all know how this go. You find us everywhere. So just whatever you got to do, whenever you catch it, don't miss it. That's it.
Put an intro, man. Get up out of here.
Yeah. I don't like being rushed, bro.
I'm sorry.
But we out.
In the city, we gon' slide, bet I be there pronto. Me, my guys, we really live. Lord, forgive me, pay my tithes. Please don't have me reach inside, and that's in the console. Keep the semi when I ride, lit off Henny when I drive. In the city, we gon' slide.